Hey friend! In this video I'm going to be reviewing the Kuretake Fudegokochi Brush Pen in 3 different sizes. Surprisingly, there are some differences besides the sizes of these pens, which I will show you in this video, so let's get right into it. These brush pens are sized as extra fine, fine, and regular, and since there isn't much English writing on the body of the pen, I can't actually read any of the description on the body of the pen aside from the names, so I'm just going to do my best to show you the body of the pen and how it writes, because I'll be honest, I'm a little bit confused about the sizing. So unless I'm mistaken, the website that I bought these from calls this yellow-bodied pen fine, while the more pearly white body is the extra fine, but as you can see when I'm sampling them, they seem to write kind of opposite of that. So I'm not sure, and if you're trying to use this video to decide which one to buy, maybe just go off of the color and if you like the writing of them versus the name itself. So I'm pushing pretty hard on the downstrokes when I'm using these brush pens, and so you can see the difference between the thick and thin lines. The second pen that I'm writing with is taking quite a bit longer to dry than the others. One thing that I read in some reviews for this pen is that some people had leaking issues with them, and while I haven't had that particular problem yet, it didn't surprise me when lettering with the second pen because it does feel kind of messy. The lettering with the third pen does look similar to the second, but it feels much softer as I letter with it, so if you prefer a softer tip pen, you may like the third one better. The first two were quite firm when I was lettering with them. And here I was just wanting to test out if the pen smeared, but I could see that the second pen was still wet even after all this time, so I didn't want to use my finger since I knew for pretty sure that it would be a bit messy. So I decided to use a completely dry paintbrush, and just like I thought, it streaked across a bit, but the first and last one were fine. One great thing about the first two pens is that they have very firm tips, so it can be easier to control and see the differences in thick and thin strokes. When you have a really soft brush pen that very easily makes thick strokes, you have to kind of be careful to keep steady pressure throughout each stroke so that you're not accidentally changing the stroke thickness when you don't want to. But with these, you have to push down a bit more to get that thicker downstroke, which means it's not as easy to accidentally add thickness to the wrong part of your letter. So I just wanted to show you what it looks like lettering with this brush pen and not really trying to create thick and thin strokes, just so you can kind of see how hard you really do have to push to get those thick strokes. I'm not being super careful, I'm just trying to casually write like with a normal pen, and as you can see there isn't a ton of stroke definition at all. But when I do add those thick downstrokes by pushing quite a bit harder, you are able to see the difference. So I think that for beginners this can be super helpful. The next thing is the water test. I wanted to show you if these are water resistant. I had a feeling that the second one wasn't based on how long it took to dry, but you never know, so I wanted to test them out for you. The first one was very water resistant and I had a hard time seeing any bleeding at all, but as you can see, the second and third pens turned into quite a streak of color. The interesting thing to me was that the colors didn't actually look the same. The middle one seemed to be more of a cool color and the bottom one had a warmer or brown tone to it. So there isn't a better or worse with either of these, but I did want to share the differences because it can be easy to assume that the only difference in these types of pens are the size, but that's not always the case. Sometimes there's little differences. So overall, I really enjoyed each of them, but I think that the first and the third will be something that I tend to use more than the middle one just because it did feel kind of messy and took quite a long time to dry. So if you are left-handed, just keep that in mind if you are purchasing these brush pens, because that might be a struggle for you as you're trying to letter from left to right if your pen is taking quite a long time to dry. So I'm going to leave a link for the playlist where I will store all of the 31 videos for the Pen a Day Challenge, where I'm going to be reviewing 31 different brush pens to use for hand lettering. If you're interested in learning how to hand letter, I do have a free mini course that I created to help you learn. So you can find the link in the description box below for that if you would like to join, or you can sign up at howtohandletter.com/mini course. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!